Okay, let's start off this webinar. I hope you can hear me all. First time I'm having a webinar like this. Had a lot of presentations before, but first time for a webinar, so I hope it's going to be good. Christopher sitting next to me. Can you hear me, Christopher? Good. So we're going to have about an hour presentation. It's going to be first an introduction about the product, about the company, because I think most of you are new to the company. And then I'm going to run a demonstration, and please ask questions during time. I have several colleagues online as well, so hopefully you can get some answers to your questions while I'm presenting. So let's go back to my presentation a little bit. So Paliscope is a software for online investigations, and the goal with the software is really to package the best tools you can use online to create an online investigation. See if you can get a picture of me. And in this presentation, we will cover a little bit of the Paliscope, the history behind it, how it works, and then we're going to run a case. We're going to see how we can structure data, how you can work with Darknet, and we'll also release something called ICAC Package, which we're really proud of, which I'm going to get into a little bit more details, creating a report and looking at the audit trail. So let's kick off that. So Paliscope is part of a group called Safe Society Group. And for us, it all started with a company called NetClean, which is a software to detect child sexual abuse images on corporate laptops and desktops. But by doing that, we work with a lot of law enforcement and a lot of you guys who are online today to help you with the investigation of those images. And as a result, we created a company and a product called Grify, and the product is called Grify Analyze. Which is used all over the world, mostly to analyze child sexual abuse cases, rescue victims, find the perpetrators. And for me, being the founder of both NetClean and Grify, I started to think, so what else could we do for this type of work? And meeting some friends online, meeting with a guy called Warren Balmer from Canada, we saw the need for a software to guide for online investigation, remove the time-consuming parts, and help you finding evidence more quickly. And as a result, we created Paliscope. It's a long story how the name come up, so that's going to be a separate webinar. We're going to run that for a 2-hour session, how to describe Paliscope name. But for this, I'll leave the name for that. So what do we want to achieve with Paliscope? It's an easy-to-use software for online investigation. It should be easy to learn and use, easy to save time. I want you to be able to rescue more victims. I want to be able to prosecute more offenders and create a better sentencing. That is my goal for this software. And what I can see for challenges when speaking to investigators was that collecting data online and stored in a structured way was something which today could be quite time consuming, and you need maybe create folder structures to create various variations of data. The report creation for prosecution with a lot of data, such as there could be textual data, there could be screenshots, there could be images, there could be videos. It's difficult to do. It's a lot of time and time consuming to make it. And for most of the time, it's kind of boring to make this report. So we're trying to automate that. I could also see that why not use services like Camera Forensics, WebIQ, or PIMIce, or other AS services and use it directly in your web browser. So your search result got enhanced by these specialized services. Going forward, I can see working with Google AI to include even more intelligent things in your investigations. Of course, coming from Grify, and I know a lot of you guys, you're having a Grify Analyze license, using that for looking at images and videos. Why not have an automatical connection there? So if you look at an image online, it automatically detects if you have that on a computer, or I've seen that before. Accessing Darknet is, of course, really critical. You need to be able to do that. And I think that doing that and internet in the same way, and of course using all these tools, is something you'd like to do. Speaking with many agencies, we could see that collecting chat dialogues is a quite time-consuming task. And first of all, you need to record them, and then you probably need to transcribe them. So that's something we'd like to solve for you. And of course, collaboration in teams and keeping audit log of this. So what is Paliscope? It's an integrated browser for online investigations. It's secure. We collect data, or when you collecting data, it's being structured. We can handle darknet, and I will show you how. We have something called smart images, which a little bit come from a Griffi world, where we want to enhance the intelligence coming from images and videos. We include a professional reporting engine, and there's of course an automatic audit log in this. One thing I would like to especially mention is that normally if you're using a web browser, you have one internet cache, which means that when you're browsing Facebook or Google, you're getting all these cookies into the same internet cache, which means that they can track you, of course, between cases. And especially if you're working with Facebook, after a while, if you're visiting in person, that Facebook will think that you might be friends, and the other guys will get a friend request saying that you might know Christian because he's been visiting your web page many times. So what we do in Paliscope is that we are separating the internet cache. So each case has one internet cache, which is I think a critical feature. So when you start Paliscope, or actually if you go back one step, to get hold of Paliscope, you just go to paliscope.com and you download the version. We try to make it as easy as possible to get started. You just download it, you enter your email address, and you will get the serial number to log in. There's a free community edition you can use and try it out, but there's also a work edition. And this is the screen you probably see when you start it. You have your previous cases, and to create a new case, you simply click the create new case button. So let's name this test case. It's a good name for a test. You can choose what type of case it is, and I see this is going to be an ICAC case. You can have some case IDs. You can have a short description about the case, like who is it on the image. And you can have a due date to it. So it depends a little bit on legislation, but in some legislation, you actually have to delete the case. So there's this flag saying that flag the case for deletion after 90 days. It won't be deleted. You're just going to be flagged, so you know that this case has been going on for 90 days. Or if you are like 180 days. You can add some client information as well, and then you click create, and we're up and running. But I will go back to a previous case I had and start from there instead. So this is what you see when you start a case. On the left side, you have what we call cards. So you can structure your information into an event, into people, objects, location, and virtual locations would be like a domain name, for instance. Then you're probably going to collect data in sort of web pages, images, or and also creating an audit trail. We also did that. We put the tabs on the left side here, and the reason for that is that we know that when you do this type of investigations, you usually end up with millions of tabs, and you're just going to cross at the top. So this is a way of having many more tabs and still be able to navigate through them. So in this case, we're going to start with an image, and you can of course get an image from online, but in this case, I'm going to upload it from my computer instead. So uploading the picture, and it's me on Oktoberfest in Germany. And but in this scenario, we don't know who the guy is on the picture, and we actually would like to find out who is it on the picture. So I can click on it to get into some details, and this is taken by an iPhone 6 camera. It has some GPS latitude and longitude. I have it on a map here as well. Here's all the EXIF information about the file. But probably in this case, the most interesting things are that it's taken on the 10th of October, around that 11th of October 2015. It's somewhere in Germany, and the question is really, who is it on the picture? So when I go back to my image gallery here, I can also have these small icons, and you who are working with Griffi know this, that this indicates if the picture has EXIF information and the little dot here indicates that the file has GPS data as well. So that's why we have this map, and you can see exactly where this was taken. Doesn't really help us to locate who is it. But continuing to structuring my case, I click on persons, and I click a person card, and we don't know who this guy is. We unknown name. We don't. I can also add a display image. Oops, it's upside down. Interesting. To see who it is. Now, one of the services that we integrating in the ICAC package is something called PIMICE. So and they are crawling both the ClearNet and the darknet, and they do face recognition online. So you can actually search for a face online. And with this integrated in the Paliscope, it means that you don't have to upload a face to them. You're actually just going to upload a hash value of the face to PIMICE to search for. It's also possible actually to have them search specific pages. So I was meeting with the Swedish police, and they were running human trafficking cases, and they were interested, of course, in some potential trafficking web pages which are used in Sweden, and they were interested in these sites being crawled for that purpose. In this case, I'm gonna put in the picture of our suspect. Where is he? He is here. Select the face, and we're searching. Now, in this case, I'm uploading the actual picture to them. But as you see here, I actually get some hits directly. And as with all these type of recognition technologies, there is a little bit of hit and miss. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In December, they had indexed about 400 million faces on the internet and about 500,000 faces on the darknet. So this would be a way of searching for, for a potential victim or an offender, even on the darknet. And they're using Google face recognition technology for this. Now, clicking on the link here, I go directly to the page, and we scroll down a little bit, and hopefully we're going to find this suspect. Oh, here it is. And now I would like to collect the picture of the guy. I just drag and drop it, and it's being saved. There's an even easier way to do this. I can have my unknown, and I set him as a favorite, and it's going to pop up here at the top. So I close here, and I just drag and drop it on unknown, and it will come out here in the card. The updating the image. Now reading this text, of course, I realize who this is. He's apparently working for an organization called NetClean, and his name is Christian Berg. So I just copy that and put it into his card. So here's name, and it's being saved. Now I can, of course, update the name of the person as well. Typically in this scenario, what you also like to do is to take a screenshot of it. So to do that, I can use my screenshot tool, which you find up in the right corner. I can either take a partial screenshot like this, and that's it. It's being saved, it's being hashed, it's being pushed into the audit log. I go to web pages, and here it is. I can take a look at it. I can actually view it as well. I can, of course, export it and to another place, but I can also attach it to a card. So in this case, I'm attaching it to Christian. Sometimes you want to collect the whole web page, and we do that by simply click the collect whole web page. And what we'll do right now, it's scrolling down, and it's making a big picture of the whole web page. And sometimes it depends on the size of the web page. It can take some time. And for this type of automatic scrolling web pages like Facebook, it will scroll as long as you have scrolled. So otherwise it could be a potential unlimited big image. So going back to my web pages section here, I find it here. Once again, I can look at it, and I can actually scroll it like it would be with any web page. We're also collecting the complete web archive at the same time, which means that you can actually view the page offline if you want to. But I'm leaving it here, and I attach it to Christian again, so I know who this web page belongs to instead of having used a folder with web page screenshots in. Now going back to my images section, I click on this one, and I can, as you see, it has GPS location. And another service we include is called Camera Forensics. And they are crawling the internet for images and specifically for metadata. So because it has GPS location, I can click Search Camera Forensics, and it will automatically open up Camera Forensics, and you will see where this picture was taken. But it also will find pictures they have found which has the same geolocation. It might be useful in some scenarios. In this case, maybe it's not that useful, except for maybe seeing that you have pictures taken at the same place. If it's an outdoor picture, you might see recognize the same kind of nature or so on. But this, from my point of view, this is a little bit like a toolbox. Sometimes GPS is, of course, extremely relevant, and sometimes it's not, like in this case. So I'm just going to take a look here. So Camera Forensics, they can do search for a lot of things, but where they started was to search for camera serial numbers. So to give you an idea how this could work, is we go into politics. We go to a site called iPolitics. It's a Canadian site about politics, and this is the typical newspaper site. But here up in the right corner, you have maybe seen that they say standard, and it's possible to view the site in various modes. So I can view it as a standard normal web page. I can go and take a look at the source code and look at that. It's usually a lot of text, especially for a newspaper like this. But I can also go into something we call smart images. Then I click on smart images, and this works regardless if you are on the darknet or clearnet or any site really. We're extracting all the pictures from the site, but we're also doing this calculation to see if the file has EXIF data, or in this case, for instance, if it has a serial number. So I click on that one, and I can get a quick view. This was taken by a Canon camera. Interesting enough, the creator was Apple. I have some serial numbers here as well, so I can actually click directly and say, hey, start search Camera Forensics for that serial number. Unfortunately, there were no hits at all, which was kind of boring. Let's see if we can go with this one. Okay, no, so they haven't found any pictures taken with the same camera in this case. But there are several scenarios, and I think a lot of you know this. There are several scenarios where you can actually link an abused picture to another picture, and by that solving the case. We're also extracting the serial number, the hash values for the files. So MD5, SHA-1, SHA-512, and also PhotoDNA is accessible directly. So you just press copy, and it's copied to your clipboard, and you can use that to search inside another system, for instance. If I want to collect an image here, I just take it, grab it, and drop it like this. If I want to associate with Christian specifically, maybe not that one, but take this one. It comes associated with Christian. So when I open this Christian's card, it's there, as you can see directly. So speaking a little bit about let's go back to this one. So also embedded in the smart images view is reverse image search. So we have embedded the Bing reverse image search, Google, and Yandex, and also actually Camera Forensics and Project Arachnid. So Camera Forensics, for them, it's a beta feature, but that means that you're actually sending the image signature, in this case the PhotoDNA signature, to Camera Forensics to see if they have a similar file in their systems. later on. You can of course use Google and Bing and Yandex, and they will work exactly as you think they would work. Just this is an easier way of doing it. It's simpler, it's more quickly. And we have seen that Bing has a really nice feature where you can actually select an area in the picture which you're interested in. And that could be, it doesn't work with face because face is more of another type of recognition. All face looks similar from an image point of view. But if you want to look for a sign, for instance, or a specific object, I think that the Bing reverse image search could be very, very helpful to find those objects you might be looking for inside an image. There's also another way of searching, and I won't show you in this scenario because this is only for child abuse investigators, and anyone could sign up for this webinar. But there's something called Project Arachnid, and what they're doing is they're crawling the internet and looking for known child sexual abuse images. And the purpose of Project Arachnid is to take it down. So if they find a picture on the site, they'll send an email to that web host saying, hey, we found a known child sexual abuse image on your servers, please take it down. But they're also, of course, storing this data in a database. And we give you access so you can actually bounce and photo-DNA, hash, or like searching for the same image inside their database. And this means that if you have let's say you find a picture of an abuse or of a suspect, you can query their database to see have they find these images online on anywhere else. And they're finding millions and millions of images every month. So first, you can, of course, know if this file has been distributed or not on the internet. But maybe more interesting is, let's say you have one file and you suspect that this comes from a series of images. Now you can see if Project Arachnid has found the same images on another place, and it might be more images associated with the same image there. So I think this could be a very interesting victim identification tool to gather more intelligence to your case. So so going back here to look a little bit at my images section. Now here's everything I have collected in my case. It's not that many images, but there are some. As you see these serial number icons here on the bridge. We had the GPS icon on myself here. Let me close it. Now to access Darknet, you simply click this little drop-down button and say open up a new Tor tab. And off we go. We give you the standard search engine, DuckDuckGo, but now you're on the Darknet and you can visit the pages you like. And of course, smart images, the source code viewer, if you want to take a screenshot, everything works exactly the same. It's no different from a user point of view. It's just that you're on the Darknet right now. And that leads a little bit to the fourth company we integrated with, which is called WebIQ. And to show you that, I go back to my own name here, and I can click search WebIQ. And what they're doing is they are crawling the Darknet, and in this case specifically for child sexual abuse web pages and places where you find this type of material. And I can also, for those of you who are interested, I can share an exact list which forums they are crawling, but that will be on an email exchange. The interesting thing here is now the good thing for me is I wasn't found on the Darknet in these type of forums. I'm very happy for that. But if you're looking for a username or as a suspect, you might find it that they have crawled one of these services and found that username, and then you can go directly to look at the web page. Although the good thing here is you don't need to actually access the Darknet. You access in their web system, and you're looking at the saved copy of that site. And they're crawling, of course, these sites regularly, and they're saving all the information. So it becomes like a wayback machine where you can go back in history, see how this username appeared in this type of forum, and then you can gather intelligence from WebIQ as well. And once again, of course, since this is a web-based system, you can just take a screenshot. If you find something interesting, you just take a screenshot of it, and we go to the web pages section, and And here it is. I attached this to Christian, saying actually we didn't find anything on the darknet on him. So we're starting to collect data, and we probably can add more data to each person. We know this guy working NetClean. So let's just open up a new tab and search for Christian a little bit to see who is this guy. And of course you find what you expect. Let's take a partial screenshot of that. And here, let's say we click on a link here to see more information where Christian apparently appeared. Now, this is the type of material you're probably going to see where it's quite dynamic and it's hard to actually save these files because you can't grab them. But you can always go out to Smart Images mode, and now we're only going to show you the pictures. So now we have a couple of people this guy, me, Reality, is associated with. So I can create another one and starting collecting this picture, and because now they appear on the same site, so I can also connect. So it shows that connect Christian and this guy on the same card. And we're connecting the people to So by doing this crossing, I would imagine in many investigation, you're investigating a subject or maybe a few subjects, but as the investigation goes, you're going to find more and more people who might be involved in various ways. And so this is a way of just starting to aggregate people and collecting more and more. You can of course add a location as well. So in this case, we wanted to add the location of where this picture was taken. So let's sum out a little bit. It's somewhere in Wiesbaden. It's Mainz. So creating a location. I'm also adding Christian to this because this is where he was really. And I can of course add multiple locations. So in this case, this was apparently the event. They were on a debate together. So let's create it. This was in Stockholm, and I can add the people who was at that event like this. Currently, you can't tell what type of relations it is between the people. It's just that they have a relation. So we have a forum for Paliscope actually in the software where you can go in and come up with ideas and roadmap and feature requests. So one of them coming up is the fact that you can actually describe the link between two people met in certain place, or how they are related to each other. So getting towards the end of my investigation, I have collected some text. I do a screenshot. I collected images. I probably want this as a report. And to do that, I'm clicking the report button out in the top right here. And instantly I get an HTML report with everything I found in the case. So here's Christian. Here are the web pages who has been associated with Christian. Here are the pictures who are associated with him. Here's the test person. Here's the unknown one. And the images is unknown number 3. locations, all the collected data, the web pages. And here comes the actual web pages. And here comes the, it's a long picture. Here comes the images we've been collecting. And at the end of it comes the audit trail. So here's the audit trail for the whole case. And we're using actually the same technology as blockchain is using with the forward-only hashing technology. So you could prove in court to say that if it's in the audit log, it's not being tampered with, which I think can be more and more important when you're presenting these type of cases to the court. Really, can you prove that this file was that you found this file at this certain place at a certain time? And you say yes, it's in the audit log and it can't be tampered with. You can also create a PDF report after the HTML report. And we all know that when we're trying to print an HTML report like this, it's going to look horrible. There are going to be no page breaks and no footers and everything. So we spend way too much time on creating a PDF report. You do that by clicking the Generate PDF. And you click Spara, that's Swedish for save. It will start to generate a PDF report, and we're actually generating it page by page to be able to give it a professional look. And what we hope, and it's a constant development, of course, but our goal with this report is that it's going to be so good so you can just hand it over to the prosecutor without doing anything manual with it. And of course, saving you a lot of time instead of all this. So, let's see, I'm not sure you can see this. Let me see. Yeah, hold on. I gotta share another one. So hopefully you're seeing what do I say, the gathering report here. In the report, you can add things like a summary, the case name. I haven't added, that's why it's empty. You get the table of contents with all the information, and you can see it's actually nice looking layout. You have a footer, and here comes information about Christian, or everything you've seen on the HTML report. But as you see, we are actually breaking it page by page, so you can add. It's not just dump all the HTML report straight out to the page. Something which could be really useful, I think, is the fact when you're having a long web page. So this is the one where we had a complete web page, and you remember that was pretty long. But what we do is we just split it up page by page like this. So you're able to print it if you need to print it. And I know many of you have to print and deliver the evidence on paper. So this is the way of doing that. Also, if you're having a lot of images and videos, it still works very well. We spend quite a lot of time on optimizing. So even if you have several thousand pages of PDF, you will be able to generate it. It will take some time, but you will be able to generate it and print and share it. So we're back at the Paliscope page. I can, of course, export this as an HTML report as well. Click the export and save, and we'll export it and you're done. So first of all, you're getting a nice looking report, but at the same time, if a manager comes or a prosecutor comes and say, hey, do you have a report on what you're working with? You just go to report, you click print, and you say, here it is, and you continue to work. You don't need to start to generate the report and stop what you're doing. You just print and save. I'm sort of reaching the end of the introduction. We can of course go a lot deeper into each feature and each service we're working with. In the ICAC package currently, we are integrating camera forensics which enables you to search for the same camera device, same image, or at pictures taken at the same GPS locations. We are including the WebIQ, which enables you to search inside the darknet, and as they are a Wayback Machine, you can search in history to see has this username been found before in any of these bad forums. We're including PIMICE, which I think could be a very interesting services in some cases, where you're actually searching for a face online, and it's combining that with that you can actually feed them. You can feed PIMICE with sites you would like to visit, or do you like them to visit an index. Makes this maybe an interesting tool for you. And I think that is both in, it could be child abuse cases, it could be counter-terrorist cases, but it can also be a lot in human trafficking cases, or maybe even in threat cases, or for you want to, maybe some of you might want to PMIs to crawl gossip sites to find pictures of important people, which you want to know where they're found. And the fourth service, which I haven't really shown, and I'm happy to do that case by case, it's with Project Arachnid. And as I said before, they are crawling the internet, they're finding a lot of known illegal images and videos, and let's keep that in a database. You'll be able to query the database to see if a file has been found at another place online. In the ICAC package, we're of course adding more and more services. We want all these services in this world to be able to give them to you, so you can use them in your investigations. We are just in the final stage of implementing the services, and I expect them to be released next month as a package, together with the support for the darknet connection. So reaching my end of the presentation, I hope you enjoyed it. It was a little bit of a glitch there in the beginning, but I hope you followed me. And I'm happy to answer questions, so feel free to put them in the chat. And I know there's been answering during the webinar, but I'm happy to answer them as well here, sitting live in person. So I'm just picking up a question here. All information is stored locally. We don't store anything on our service. Everything is stored locally on your premises. The Project Arachnid hashset is not available for download as it is right now. It's more of a question for Arachnid, but they actually don't have their own hashset. They get hashsets from other agencies which they're using for crawling purposes. So they don't have their own hashset they share. We have, for the group licensing, we have volume discounts. So you take a look at the Paliscope webpage, you see that's the basic price, but you just get in contact with us if you are interested in volumes. So yeah, thank you very much for coming and listening to me. If you have any questions, just drop us an email at the info@paliscope.com, or if you want to connect to myself, see if you can see it. Just you can either send me a text message, but I think I'm in Sweden and most of you are not in my time zone. So just drop an email. I will promise I'm answering as quick as possible. I saw a question here about recording YouTube videos, and as Anna said in the chat here, it's prioritized feature. It's not there yet. I think something that can be really interesting is the screen recording feature, which comes during the spring here. The recording of the webinar will be available for download afterwards. Yes, Svein. And Seth, I see the question about Linux. Currently, it doesn't work on Linux. It just works on Microsoft's Windows and Mac. Currently, there are no plans to make a Linux version. We do develop on a framework which makes it possible, but we see the major interest is actually using a Windows machine. Yeah, so let's see. Alexander had a question here about if you can edit what's in the report. So let me show you that. I didn't show you. So everything that you include, everything you collect, you choose if that's going to be included in the report or not. Default is that everything is included, but I can actually go in and select case by case if I want that to be included in or not. So I just click this checkbox and say, hey, include in report. And this means that now these 3 files will be included in the report, and the other ones won't be included in the report. The same goes, of course, for information and web pages and so on. All right, thank you, everyone. I will stay here for another 10 minutes. So if you have any questions, just put them in the chat, and then we will answer them. Otherwise, just yes, as I said, drop an email if you have any questions or thoughts. And thank you so much for coming and listening to me.